Hey Grand Adventurers, welcome back. I'm your host Mark Guido. And when we signed off last week's episode from Smithers, we told you we were heading this week to Terrace, British Columbia. But that was not to be, and instead we've ended up here in Prince Rupert on British Columbia's north coast, just south of the Alaska border. Stay tuned. This sand and gravel bar along the Exstew River, about 22 miles west of Terrace, may be one of the most spectacular boondocking spots we've ever found. This is where we were planning to camp for this week's grand adventure. We dropped our trailer at a nearby rest area on the Yellowhead Highway and advanced scouted the road to the campsite without our fifth wheel, finding that, although it was only 3.5 miles, the road was severely potholed for that entire length, from which our trailer would have taken a real beating. A Class B motorhome or truck camper would have been far easier negotiating the access road. But for some illogical reason, the driver of this Class A nevertheless thought it was a good idea. Disappointed and facing a tough decision, we opted to instead continue for another hour and 15 minutes west, along the scenic Skeena River to the port city of Prince Rupert at the end of the Yellowhead Highway. This is an utterly spectacular drive, with tall cascades plunging down steep mountainsides into the river below. U.S. troops finally completed this 100-mile road between Prince Rupert and Terrace during World War II to help move thousands of Allied troops to the Aleutian Islands and the Pacific. Even today, there's absolutely nothing along this entire stretch of roadway until you reach the outskirts of Prince Rupert. Prince Rupert is located on Kaien Island, near where the Skeena River discharges into the Pacific, just south of Ketchikan, Alaska, and about 480 miles northwest of Vancouver. It is the land, air, and water transportation hub of British Columbia's north coast, and has a current population of 12,300 people, about half of which are descended from the indigenous people who have inhabited the area for roughly 5,000 years. Prince Rupert is located in a temperate rainforest and is Canada's wettest city. On average, 240 days per year receive at least some measurable precipitation, more than double the precipitation that falls on notoriously rainy Vancouver, and the city sees the sun on average only 100 days per year. Summer temperatures have never exceeded 90 degrees here, and we're enjoying cool highs in the 50s and 60s during our mid-July visit. We've lucked out with the weather for much of our brief visit here. Prince Rupert was created to replace Port Simpson as the choice for the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway's western terminus. The brainchild of Grand Trunk Pacific President Charles Melville Hayes, who died in the sinking of the Titanic. It also replaced Port Essington, 18 miles away on the southern bank of the Skeena River, as the business center for BC's North Coast. It was named after Prince Rupert of the Rhine, the first governor of the Hudson's Bay Company, as the result of a nationwide competition held by the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway. Built in 1911, Quinitsa Station was one of 400 identical rail stations along the railway's route, from Winnipeg to Prince Rupert. Today, it is one of only 4 surviving stations. Fishing, primarily for salmon and halibut, and forestry were the city's major industries throughout most of the 20th century. However, in the 1990s, both the fishing and forestry industries suffered a significant downturn over disputes between British Columbia and Alaska over salmon fishing rights and softwood lumber. Many people left in search of work, and the town's population declined by a third. The years from 1996 to 2004 were difficult for Prince Rupert, with closure of the town's pulp mill, the burning down of a fish plant, and a significant population decline. But Prince Rupert is the deepest ice-free natural harbor in North America, and the northwesternmost port in North America linked to the continent's railway network. So the town's fortunes reversed once again, following 2005's announcement of the construction of a new container shipping port and a new cruise ship dock, upon both of which the town's economy now largely depends, shipping primarily coal and grain to buyers in Asia. Prince Rupert is also the starting point for many wildlife viewing trips, including whales, eagles, salmon, and grizzly bears. here for only 3 nights, staying in Prince Rupert RV Park on the edge of town. This is the only RV campground in Prince Rupert, and one of only 4 this side of Terrace, 100 miles away. The online reviews for this campground are horrible. While many of the reviews make valid points, we didn't share all of their complaints. For example, we found the staff member who checked us in to be incredibly warm, friendly, and helpful. Part of the problem is that the RV park is built on a hill, although nearly not so much as the nearest alternative in Port Edward. This has limited how developers could lay out the campground. But the owners here have nevertheless crafted a new way to shoehorn RVs in. Believe it or not, I don't own this entire pull-through. That's considered another site behind my RV to cram someone else into. Despite its notable shortcomings, Prince Rupert RV Park has served us well this week, and we've enjoyed 3 comfortable, restful nights' sleep here on our quality RV mattress from our valued video sponsor, Brooklyn Bedding. Improve your sleep while camping with a new RV mattress from our video sponsor, Brooklyn Bedding. They offer 4 different mattress constructions in 21 different sizes, depending on preference and price point. Everything from standard queen to all of those funky, odd RV sizes. Brooklyn Bedding manufactures all of its mattresses right at their factory in Arizona. And RVmattress.com ships them right to your door for free, all rolled up and compressed in a vacuum seal. Just cut the wrap to unroll the mattress onto your bed, then cut the vacuum seal. For our mattress, Brooklyn Bedding starts with a layer of high-density foam for a supported base. Just above the base, an 8-inch core of over 1,000 individually encased coils provides the essential support. Immediately above the coils is a 1-inch layer of memory foam and 2-inch layer of hyper-elastic TitanFlex foam. Finally, at the very top is a 1.5-inch layer of antimicrobial CopperFlex foam with TitanCool, which is designed to maintain an ideal sleep body temperature of 88 degrees. Every RV mattress from Brooklyn Bedding comes with a limited lifetime warranty and a 120-night sleep trial. Visit RVmattress.com/grandadventure and use code GRANDADVENTURE to get a full 30% off your entire order. One of our primary motivations in coming to the Prince Rupert area is to visit the North Pacific Cannery. Now a National Historic Site, North Pacific Cannery's history is unique and is comparable to few, if any, of the other canneries on the west coast of North America. This facility was built near the mouth of the Skeena River on Cannery Row, on the scenic shores of Inverness Inlet, near the village of Port Edward. North Pacific Canning Company was formed in 1888 by three business partners. The following year, they received a Crown grant for 183 acres of land at a cost of $32, and the plant was constructed. It performed continuous salmon production and fish processing for nearly 90 years, until the late 1970s. A remarkable feat in an industry typically marked by acquisitions, mergers, bankruptcies, and restructuring. Just 2 years following its construction, the plant was sold to Henry Ogle Irving and his Anglo-British Columbia Packing Company, or ABC Packers, which recognized the advantages of consolidation of the region's canning operations. The company accounted for more than 1/4 of British Columbia's total salmon pack in 1891 and was the foremost packer of sockeye salmon in the world. In its heyday, the cannery employed some 600 to 800 workers seasonally, all of whom lived on site. Workers were segregated by race, for both housing and for employment tasks. Japanese were the skilled fishermen. Chinese workers performed the dangerous and labor-intensive tasks. Indigenous people fell somewhere in between, while the white European employees held the management positions. ABC Packers owned and operated North Pacific Cannery until 1968, when the company was folded and its assets sold off. The site continued to operate, not as a cannery, but as a maintenance and reduction facility for the fishing fleet in Prince Rupert until 1981, when it closed for fishing operations. A group of local historians banded together in 1985 and ultimately saved the site from demolition, paving the way for the museum it is today, with 25 buildings that can be toured, including the Visitor Center, Canning Loft, First Nations and Japanese bunkhouses, a European house, and the Mess House, which has been turned into a small cafe. When we come right back, following a quick ad break, we'll learn more about both the early European settlers of BC's north coast and the indigenous people of the Prince Rupert area. So stay tuned. Built like a native longhouse, right in the center of Prince Rupert, the Museum of Northern British Columbia contains exhibits that share and explain the cultural heritage of the people of BC's northwest coast, both native people and settlers alike. Most of the museum's exhibits focus on the indigenous northwest coast nations, including the Tsimshian, who have called the Prince Rupert area home for thousands of years, and are one of the largest First Nations peoples in northwest British Columbia. The Tsimshian maintain winter villages in and around the islands of Prince Rupert Harbor, before returning to their summer villages along the lower Skeena River when the salmon returned. Their name translates to inside the Skeena River. Traditionally, the Tsimshian lived in large longhouses, made from cedar house posts and panels to withstand the wet climate. These were very large and usually housed an entire extended family. Tsimshian religion centered on the Lord of Heaven, who aided people in times of need by sending supernatural servants to earth to aid them. The Tsimshian believed that charity and purification of the body, either by cleanliness or fasting, was the route to the afterlife. Tsimshian artists have excelled in traditional mediums and contemporary forms, with pieces spread around the world. These artisans practice the tradition of storytelling with their chosen mediums. The museum isn't limited, however, to the Northwest Coast nations. Its displays also explain the lives of early European settlers in the region, the arrival of the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway, the development of Prince Rupert, and the local industries of fishing and logging. We hope that you've enjoyed exploring the Prince Rupert area of British Columbia with us. Coming up next week, we're going to be checking off our 49th camping state and heading for the great state of Alaska. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer, there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand it's extremely important to us that if you enjoyed this episode from Prince Rupert, please be sure to give us a huge thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comment section where we'd love to hear from you each and every week. So until next Wednesday, from the great state of Alaska, please remember life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.